Hello everyone, I'm going to continue the series of the Daf Yomi. We are on, actually today, Masechet Nedarim, Daf Samach Bet, that is page 62 respectively, of this phenomenal Gemara. And we're going to start off, it's going to be a story today where we're going to compare two great rabbis that potentially it could seem that they use their crown of Torah, their great Torah knowledge, for some benefits, which is in both cases very much extremely justified, and I'll relate over the comparison and where the two cases differ. So over here, the Talmud is going to relate two incidents involving two different great rabbis, and they use the honor due to the Torah for its own purposes, respectively. Okay, so one is coming in our Gemara, in our Daf, today's Gemara, which concerns Rabbi Tarfon, very, very famous rabbi. And the other is from Masechet Baba Kama, which is part of the three Babas, Baba Kama, Baba Batra, and Baba Metzia. And it comes from Daf Nun Tet over there, 59 over there. And its hero is a sage, Eliezer Zeira. So we're going to be comparing the cases of, in today's Gemara, of Rabbi Tarfon, and also the famous sage Eliezer Zeira over here. So what's going on here, friends? In today's Talmud, we see that we were talking about figs yesterday, about neders, and we're on the same line of topic with regards to figs. Te'ena, it's called in Hebrew, respectively. So we said that when the harvest of the fig trees is over, the owners, the Ba'alim, the people that own the fig trees, can relinquish ownership of whatever insignificant fruit remains, and everyone has a right to take them at that stage in time. You know, it becomes hefker at that point in time and ownless. And enter Rabbi Tarfon, the Rabbi Tarfon in today's Gemara. He availed himself to this privilege in a specific field. He found a specific field, and he wants to take advantage of this, what's allowed to do, and take some of the produce over there here. However, inside this specific field, to his misfortune, the owner of that field had been a victim of robberies of all different kinds of sorts and a lot of calamities, of grapes from the field and all different things. And when the owner of the field came and saw Rabbi Tarfon, obviously he couldn't recognize that it was a Rabbi Tarfon, respectively. He straight away took him into a sack and didn't know who he was, and threatened to throw him inside the river in what seems very, very brutal. He didn't know it was Rabbi Tarfon. So Rabbi Tarfon quickly said, "Woe to the person that's going to throw Rabbi Tarfon to the river. You know, it's not going to be allowed." He alarmingly said this, and the guy, the owner of the field, quickly, very humiliated and embarrassed, obviously released Rabbi Tarfon straight away and ran away. He was absolutely humiliated. However, later on, Rabbi Tarfon, for many years of his life, or the rest of his life, will always think that maybe he used the crown of the Torah over here to his own benefit, where he shouldn't have. You know, one could have argued that. So, obviously, he had every reason to say what he did, and every justification, as we see in a moment. Let's compare the second case in the Gemara, in Baba Kama, in the Daf 59, page 59. So what's happened over there with the Eliezer Zeira, the story involving Rabbi Eliezer Zeira? It begins with this standing in a marketplace in the area of Nehardea, and he was wearing black shoes. Why wearing black shoes? What's wrong with it, you would assume? Which in those times was worn in that period as a sign of mourning, for avelot of something, mourning. And he was asked by the officials, which we call the Reish Galuta, the exilach over there. They asked him, "Why are you wearing this? Why is this public display of mourning over here?" So he, obviously very, very righteous, esteemed rabbi, said he was mourning the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash of Jerusalem and the Beit HaMikdash, a temple, respectively. So that's why he's wearing black, because that was very much a symbol of mourning. And however, the Reish Galuta over there thought this is chutzpah. You're on a great level to be of that specific level of a rabbi to do it. They didn't recognize what a great rabbi he was. They didn't know. They thought he was just a commoner that was taking advantage of this. And they didn't think he was a Torah scholar for one reason or another. And they took him straight away because he was practicing public mourning. And that's only befitting someone that's great in Torah to do. And they didn't believe he was someone great in Torah. So they arrested him. And he kept on protesting that he was a Torah scholar. He was saying, no, I'm a Torah scholar. So then he actually said, unequivocally, He said that you can ask me any question, I'll be able to answer it. Obviously, knowing that he would be able to answer everything, he would be able to stump them out. And they asked him a question, he was able to answer it, and they released him straight away. They realized he had been successful, and he was really the great Torah scholar he had claimed to be over there. And the sage Shmuel actually vindicated him and freed him straight away, unequivocally. So over here again, it's a case where he used the power of Torah over here, the crown of Torah, to get released. He's benefiting from it, just like in our first case in the Gemara in today's Masechet. So we've now got two examples here of two great Rabbanim that use the power, the crown of Torah, to free themselves for their own personal benefit, and in both cases it seems very much justified. However, was it really? Was there a difference in these cases or not? So let's compare the two cases. In the Gemara, they conclude that in the scenario of Rabbi Eliezer Zera, it was more justified to use a crown of Torah, and I'll tell you why now. Why was this? Because let's go back to the case of Rabbi Tarfon in today's Gemara. He had to save himself from death, potentially. He had every reason to do what he did. However, Rabbi Tarfon had some sort of remorse or regret with regards to the case, because he was a very, very wealthy man, and maybe he didn't really need to pick this produce in the fields in the first place. Maybe he could have left it to the poor. And furthermore, when the person threatened to throw him away, he could have automatically, instead of revealing who he was, the power of Torah, he could have offered him a bribe, a sum of money to be released. However, remember, he was really justified with what he did and had every reason to do what he did and to reveal who himself. But he could have used the other methods. However, in the case of Eliezer Zera, he was arrested and was potentially going to be imprisoned. And he had no choice to be released. He could not bribe them or anything else at that point in time. He had to prove he was a Torah scholar that had done the acts that he had done. And thus he had said at that point in time, ask any question, I'll be able to answer. And he unequivocally was able to use his Torah credentials in order to answer this and to clarify there was a great rabbi. And so in both cases, there was obviously total justification for what happened and everything else. However, there was a difference in the two cases, and why Rabbi Eliezer Zera's case was slightly different to the case of Rabbi Tarfon, who we learn in today's Gemara respectively. Guys, have an awesome Chodesh. It's Rosh Chodesh Kislev, Rosh Chodesh Tevet tonight. It's Chanukah tonight, and it's Motzei Shabbat Kodesh. And wishing all blessings from Israel respectively. Have a great day, guys, and enjoy. Bye.